So coming straight to the lecture, so as we cross over the 155th birth anniversary of Tagore, and now within a month we're going to celebrate 156th birth anniversary, to celebrate the impossible stretch of the genius of Rabindranath, some questions still remain unanswered. Because scholars today flounder to size up the multi-layered legacy as each discourse adds up one more Rabindranath in the garland of many Rabindranaths. There is no one discourse, no single seminar that can encompass the nearly cosmic nature of his legacy. In fact, each one of us has a different Rabindranath. He means different things to different people. He was the man whose unflagging creative oomph composed poems, songs, and fictions, weaving a web of complexity around human emotions. He was the artist who took up the brush at the fag end of his life and drew up a surrealist canvas of colors. And also, he was the creative choreographer who, at the twilight of his life, set the stage and raised the curtain for the first Indian modern dance. But discourses on his dance are not too many. A great majority of scholars share till date that Tagore's experiments with the female body, female dancing body, were marginal, amateurish, and elementary. The eclectic movement with a choice of body languages might have given birth to a confusing style, but that was never strong enough to stand as a counter lineage of performance, as a potent standby of the codified stately classical. Whatever be the reasons for the gap in research and however little theorizing we have on it, and however marginal it may appear in Tagore's artistic career, one thing is certain, that he laid the foundation for the first modern dance in India, and unfortunately he left us with no single or simple clue to dance him out. Himself never a trained dancer, yet endowed with a highly ingenious acumen of bodily performance, dance occurred to Rabindranath rather late in life. But before that, in 1870s, the 17-year-old youngster from a young Brahmo family was dragged to the floor of social dancing in England, forgetting his steps, making inhibited and nervous moves with alien interlocutors, and also picked up the thread much later in his life as a septuagenarian in his 60s and 70s to envisage a groundbreaking formula of Indian dance. Penning down the first scripts for avant-garde dance dramas, Tagore not merely offset the Eurocentric version of modernity, but also subverted the chauvinist Indian classical, yet absorbing freely from each genre, be it high classical or low or little folk, tribal, or contemporary. His was a blasphemous intervention into the sacrosanct domain of Natya Shastra, which was in the making in the 1860s and 70s, though it was written much earlier by Bharata Muni. And he confused consciously the markers between Oriental, Occidental, classical, folk, or whatever binaries we used to draw between several genres of dance. Confronting dance with his usual audacious guards, Tagore overturned the reinvented canonized tradition, modernized the so-called Oriental performing art, and in pioneering the first modern dance dramas, he raised fundamental questions about dance, tradition, and gender. Privileging the non-normative, non-conforming female sexuality, he countered the mythoclassical narratives, staging the embodied deviance of Chandalika, Chitrangada, and Shama. These impure, hybrid dancing bodies coming out from the margin, from the peripheries of the nation, reclaimed the public stage, outstaging the dominant imageries and stereotypes that the nation decided to perform at this moment, at the historic moment of cultural nationalism. The ball started rolling during the cusp of the conflict between pure Indian classical and upstart hybrid modern. While both remained a cultural project of the Hindu male elite, artistic masterminds diverged on ideation of women, nation, sexuality, and culture. In the south came the discovery of the first classical, drawing from motifs of fossilized temple sculptures and embedded in Natya Shastra. And Bengal, the best setter of 19th century Renaissance, hosted the first modern. The curtains went up at the fag end of the 19th century in Jorashako Private Theatre, where Tagore brothers and also their cousins teamed up together to form their very own private theatre. It was called different. It was actually had different names at different periods of time. Devendranath, a seated patriarch, a Brahmo Puritan, tacitly allowed his daughters and also daughters-in-law to appear as heroines of Sarojini, Olik Babu, Amon Kormo Ar Korbona, and a series of dance drama that would follow in the 20th century. A silent revolution was in the offing, and the media, the nationalist and also the colonial media, welcomed this as embryonic creative impulse of a reawakened nation. Ayatabe Shohochori, that turned the mood of Jyotirindranath musical ballad of Manomoyi in 1880, showed early signs of dance, weaving a rather childish Ringa Ringa Roses sort of choreography made by Tagore, was just back from England. Taps and bobs were visibly on the mark in Punar Boshanto, while a band of dacoits rocked the stage with beats of staccato in Balmiki Pratibha. In 1881, this is the first musical drama staged and written and also acted. Tagore himself performed in this musical drama. Hailed as a fashionable theatrical entertainment by the statesman, the last play, that is Balmiki Pratibha, was applauded for its realistic stage setting with real butterflies and stuffed birds firmly set on stage. The paper complimented it as a charming Bengali performance with a good deal of English influence, and the forest, where the forest actually looked like the forest of Midsummer's Night's Dream, and robbers represented the French soldiers, and also kind of Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. So quite a crossbreed influence was detected by the contemporary media. But more significant was the inclusion of 12-year-old Pratibha Devi, the only female actor, and she was a niece of Tagore. She was congratulated by Shadharani for a daring to step out on public stage, as yet an ambiguous space where gender and sexuality were too entangled for respectable women to access.